Hey everybody, Matt DeBerry, DawgPost.com. It is December 5th. The SEC Championship is one day away, and Kirby Smart has made his final comments as the Dogs inch closer and closer to their big game in Mercedes-Benz against Alabama. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Basically everything Kirby Smart said. Now, he didn't say a whole lot about Alabama. He talked a lot about his players, the growth that he's seen from a lot of individual guys, how they're preparing for Alabama. And he also talked a little bit about signing day and the class that they just brought in. I talked all about that in another video. You could read all about Georgia's 2026 class over on dawgpost.com. Make sure you're doing that. We're going to start the video with that, then talk about what he had to say about his own team. Of course, he was asked about Jared Curtis. That information is over on dawgpost.com. You could read it for free. To quickly summarize, he said, we always have a plan in place. This is not the first time someone, an 18-year-old has changed his mind last minute. He said more. You could read about that, again, on dawgpost.com. Basically, the plan is they're going to the portal now. So we're going to move on. They do not have a quarterback in this class. That's not what this video is about. But he did say that, hey, we're playing more guys earlier and earlier. The exact quote is this right here. He said, quote, more of these kids have to be ready to play. I look at our practice yesterday, the day before, and the number of true freshmen that are in the two deep is probably higher than it's ever been in my 10 years here. I have a feeling that's here to stay. Those guys we signed yesterday would be factors in our depth chart next year. They've got to be ready to play faster because you just don't have many people out there. And yeah, he's right about that, especially in the transfer portal era where these highly ranked kids want to play. And if they come to Georgia, some of them are, practicing hard. They're giving it their best. They're so far on the depth chart, though, and they have to make a decision. Do I go or do I really continue to try to work this thing out and give it a few years, maybe more than two, right? So, guys have to make decisions for themselves. But he's saying, hey, you can play early at Georgia, and he's exactly right, especially in year two. That 24 class, we're seeing a lot of guys in that class grow up and be big-time players, but we're seeing a lot of true freshmen play as well, and that was his message. We need a lot of these guys that we signed to be able to play quickly because they could have a real role next year. So that's a quick summarization of signing day. He also was obviously asked about the center position, and he was quick to say, I'm not talking about it. Quote, we're not prepared to disclose that right now. Asking about who the starting center is. Malachi Tolliver played the second half against Georgia Tech. But if Cortez Smith, the true freshman from Parkview, that kid's a dog. That might be the future center of this program and maybe the guy taking over next year. It's going to be a fight. I think it's a fight in practice right now. They know that they need the best available option at center, whether it's one of those two or possibly Micah Morris, possibly Dontrell Glover, another true freshman, right? So they are in a position where, unless it's Micah Morris, so I highly doubt it's going to be Micah Morris, they're looking at three young guys and Tolliver and two true freshmen looking at that starting position. So he's saying, hey, we're not talking about it, but again, that's probably the weakest position on the team right now. But they're still running it efficiently, and they've got a running back, Nate Frazier, who is running out of his mind right now. I was going to save that for later, but let's just dig into it. He was asked about Nate Frazier. The fumble he had against the Tide in September was a game changer, right? That was not so great. Since then, he's become a different kind of player. What have you seen from him since that contest? That's what someone asked Kirby. And, he went to bat for Nate Frazier, as he should. And Nate Frazier has deserved the praise for his recent play over the last several weeks. And Kirby said, quote, I've seen that before that contest, talking about his talent and what he means to the team. I don't think you measure someone by one play or one mishap. I certainly don't measure him by that. He runs with great toughness. He's got competitive fibers. He just competes. I love the way the guy practices every day, how much it means to him. I mean, he's had good games and really good plays since then. He's had that same he wishes he had that play back, so he does. He is a good player. I don't measure him by that moment. I'm measuring him in this moment. I look at it as a total season and what a tremendous job Nate has done. Dude was bouncing off Georgia Tech defenders left and right in that game. And sometimes the holes weren't there, and he just kind of slipped through them and then just took off. When this guy is, when he can get through the trenches, he can be really tough to bring down once he gets going. He is physical, but he's got speed too, and he's shifty. He's got some wiggle. There is a lot to like about what he brings to the table, and the ball security has increased, or it has been more dependable. But he's gonna have to be. He's going to have to be at his best against Alabama. They need him to, and I think this is a big opportunity for him as well. Let's talk about the defense a little bit. One guy that has really stepped up in a big way this year, especially due to an injury, has been because Kyron Jones got injured, and that's Ja'Cory Thomas, a safety who can play different types of positions. He's a versatile guy, can make different types of plays in different positions. Anyway, he's a veteran. Here's what Kirby Smart had to say about Ja'Cory. He said he's a veteran in our program, especially, in the secondary. 4 years now, he's been a really good special teams player for us. He played a lot of snaps. He played dime, nickel, safety, free safety, strong safety. He's one of those guys that's played 4 spots for us and done a tremendous job. He continues to grow and get better. And he was someone who flashed a little bit against Georgia Tech. I think he let someone get behind him, maybe against Texas or someone. So he hasn't been perfect in coverage, but he plays hard, and I'm sure he's played better than what we see. Because if you're just watching TV, you don't really see what's going on in the secondary down the field unless you're looking at it from a bigger picture later on, or they go back and highlight and show you. It's a little easier to see from the press box, especially in Sanford Stadium, because we're way up there. But he, a lot like KJ Bolden, he closes quickly and he identifies plays and he really attacks and gets after it. 2 more guys that have played really well, obviously the cornerbacks, Ellis Robinson, DeMello Jones. If both those guys come back next year, which you would expect them to, that might be the best cornerback duo in college football next year if they continue to get better. Because right now they're both playing at a high level. Ohio State always has cornerbacks, so we'll see. I mean, they're always loaded there, but it's going to be tough to find 2 better than Ellis Robinson and DeMello Jones in year 3 next year. Now, a lot of programs are going to be trying to get them in that portal and throw big time money at them because that's how well they're playing right now. And Ellis Robinson is certainly turning into that 5-star ball hawk that made him a top 3 recruit in the country. DeMello Jones, long but physical. He loves, coming up and making a big hit, a big tackle. He is aggressive. They're both making plays, not only in coverage, but they're showing physicality too. Kirby Smart said, I think those guys have progressed really well since they've arrived. Again, they both hit the weight room last year, got bigger, stronger, understanding our system, playing well, learning from Dalen Everett. He's done a really good job with them. Those guys are good football players. They love football. They're instinctive. They challenge people. They cover our wideouts every day in practice, which I think is a huge benefit for them in their growth. And he's right about that too. Those guys going up against Zachariah Branch every day, or a Colby Young, or a Noah Thomas, or a London Humphreys, Georgia's got receivers. They've got an alpha in Zachariah Branch who has been the go-to guy. But these cornerbacks, this is year 2, and the light is on. They are getting better and better, and the more they play, the better they are getting. They should be elite next year as a junior. I think one of the biggest things Kirby and the staff has to do is make sure they are both coming back next year. They can't go to the NFL, but you never know who's entering the portal. And those 2 are guys that Georgia needs to find a way financially or however they can to get both of them back. Another guy who is going to emerge and probably have a big year next year is Zayden Walker. He's the true freshman linebacker from Sly County. Middle of nowhere in Georgia. He was a 5-star linebacker, number 1 linebacker in 2025. Another freshman that Kirby Smart has mentioned. He said he's been a good rusher. He's been a good 3rd down guy for us. He's been a good special teams player for us. He's gaining more confidence. I think he gains more confidence the more he'll be able to contribute even more. This guy that we wrote about on Dawg Post as a freshman in high school is a guy that everyone should know about, should be a Georgia target, should be a 5-star. And he absolutely played that way, and he is emerging as one of the top young defenders on this roster, getting some playing time in some big moments. Really good player. Kirby Smart also talked about injuries. You could read more about that over on Dawg Post. As we've said, this is the most banged up Alabama team I've ever seen Georgia face in the last several years, at least in the Kirby Smart era. This is the year they really need to get it done. They've got a lot of guys playing well, especially on defense. They're banged up too, especially at center. That might be the biggest injury in the game between the two teams. But this Alabama team is beat up and bruised right now. Georgia needs to take advantage. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. The big game is tomorrow. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comment section below. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video.